Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. I have a question for you. Can a universal basic income experiment lead to individuals finding more jobs? Yes, you heard that right. Now, as you know, one of the big concerns of Republican senators is that if individuals make more money on unemployment compared to if they were actually working, this would be a disincentive for individuals to get back to work. But what if individuals who are guaranteed a basic income actually found more work? What if the guarantee of financial stability, what if the guarantee that you could pay your bills, you can make rent, you can put food on the table, you can keep the lights on, what if you had a guarantee? Would that enable you? Would that empower you? Would that allow you to go back and find the kind of work that you really want to do so that you can be productive and so that you can actually get back to work? In short, can universal basic income encourage individuals to get back to work? Here's the headline of an article on your screen from Bloomberg: the biggest payoff from Stockton's basic income program, jobs. A new report on the California city's no strings attached money experiment showed that a $500 a month stipend, which by the way isn't a lot of money, but it was universal basic income in this experiment, did more than just improve the well-being of the recipient. It helped them find work. I want you to think about that for a second. Universal basic income enabling individuals to be able to find work so that they are less dependent on that basic income, but now become more independent by finding the work that they are most suited for, that is more commensurate with their skills. Now, before I dig deeper into that article, I want to show you the cycle of poverty on your screen. You have heard me talk about this before on our channel, but this is extremely important in the context of this video. Individuals who are stuck in the cycle of poverty are simply not able to get the right jobs. Why are they not able to get the right jobs? Because they don't have access to the right education. They don't have access to the best type of food. Remember, healthy food is more expensive than unhealthy food. They don't have access to the right tools. They don't have access to the right connections. They don't have access to the right people, which makes them stuck in the cycle of poverty. The cycle of poverty impacts every single one of our fellow Americans. It doesn't matter if you're white, it doesn't matter if you're black, it doesn't matter if you're Hispanic. The cycle of poverty is something, and you can see it on your screen, that prevents many of our fellow Americans, millions of our fellow Americans, from being able to come out of that cycle of poverty and having money work for you as opposed to working for money. The cycle of poverty forces individuals to get stuck in not only low skill jobs, not only low paying jobs, but also prevents the individual from realizing their maximum potential and being maximally productive. Remember, you are capable of more and more productivity if you're more educated, if you have more skills, and if you have more experience. However, if you're stuck in the cycle of poverty, you may have the right skills, but if you don't have the right experience, if you don't have the right education, you're simply not going to be able to achieve maximum productivity. And that is why individuals get stuck in the cycle of poverty. So let's get back to the city of Stockton, California. In 2019, 125 people in Stockton, California started receiving $500 a month each. There were no strings attached to this experiment. Now, this was a privately funded program. It was known as the Stockton Economic Empowerment Demonstration, SEED, and it was designed not only to boost the lives of some low-income residents that was selected, but in the struggling city of 300,000 individuals, it was intended as a random study. It was designed as a study meant to evaluate whether giving a fixed income, no strings attached, to an individual would work, and what would the recipients of this quote-unquote free money do with it. Now, keep in mind, this was a 2-year study, and the good news is that this week, a report was released on the first year of the 2-year study. In fact, we'll show you that report on your screen right now. And as we scroll through the report, I'll give you some of the highlights. Also, as always, you'll get a link to all of our resources, including this report, in the description section below. So if you want to dig deeper into it, please do that. Please check out the description section of our video. This is what makes our channel unique. We always list all of our references. So this report, which again was the first year result, this report documented all the effects of the recipients, and now people who received the cash, this is important, they reported less pain, less anxiety, they reported a sense of emotional, psychological freedom, and they spent more time with their kids. Okay, now it gets better. The most significant change from an economic perspective was the impact on work status. The rate of full-time employment among the recipients of this $500 a month seed program went up by 12 points over the course of just 1 year. In other words, individuals found more full-time jobs. According to the former mayor of Stockton, his name is Michael Tubbs, he said the last year has shown up that far too many people were living on the financial edge and were pushed over it by the pandemic. Seed gave people the dignity to make their own choices, the ability to live up to their potential, and improved economic stability going into the turmoil of the pandemic. And if you thought that was interesting, wait till you hear this part. This is pretty incredible. Essentially, the $500 a month in guaranteed income bought people more time so that they could find work. Here's some reporting from the Bloomberg article. The researchers found that $500 a month had a profound impact on the people who received it. Think about this, $500 a month changing people's lives, having a life-altering impact on people. And unsurprisingly, income volatility, already above the average baseline for many participants in the study, was 1.5 times higher in the control group than the treatment group, which basically means that those individuals who did not get the $500 a month had a lot of volatility. Some months they made more money, some months they made less money, because they were essentially living below the poverty line, and many of them were living essentially a hand-to-mouth existence. The monthly payment of $500 a month allowed the recipients to absorb unplanned economic shocks like a car repair or an unpaid sick day. Using the Kessler Psychological Distress Scale, which measures anxiety and depression, researchers found that the mood of the recipients of the $500 a month improved more than that of the control group. Fatigue and physical pain also reduced. Here's the bottom line, and this is very important. Rather than discourage work, the $500 a month bought the recipients more time to find better work. I mentioned the cycle of poverty earlier in this video. Let's show you the cycle of poverty one more time on your screen. Imagine if someone was able to find better work, which essentially allowed them to be as productive as they could be. They are doing better work. They're doing essentially a higher caliber of work, if you will. They're doing a job that is commensurate with their skills. And they're not just doing a job so that they can make some money and essentially pay their bills. They're doing a job that allows them to fulfill their full potential, thereby achieving maximum productivity. Keep in mind, when I say productivity, I'm talking about a job that fulfills your maximum potential. I'm not talking about laziness or not doing your job effectively. There's a very important distinction between those two things. Let's get back to the results of this study. Bloomberg reports people's feelings of agency and control over their lives also improved. Recipients shared stories of finding new employment opportunities and reopening bank accounts. Something as simple as reopening your bank account gives you a sense of power, gives you a sense of control over your life. One of the recipients reported sleeping better. In that report, the woman described acquiring a new sense of chosen vulnerability. In other words, she was able to choose where her weaknesses were and not have those weaknesses thrust on her by a lack of money and the environment around her. There was a lower need, a lower tendency, a lower desire to ask people for money, to ask friends and family for money, because I don't think many of us want to be indebted to someone and want to ask for money. And people already had some strained or difficult relationships with people that they were associated with, and then they were desperate enough to ask them for money. And basically, this puts all relationships, this puts essentially your psychological well-being, your social construct in peril if money becomes an impediment to your happiness. So having $500 a month made a big impact on individuals, allowed them to become more independent by having the time to seek jobs that were more commensurate with their skills, that by extension allowed them to achieve their full potential and achieve maximum productivity. Now, there is another side to this story, because I do want our viewers and subscribers to understand both sides. According to Matt Zwolinski, who's the director of the Center for Ethics, Economics, and Public Policy at the University of San Diego, he had more of a cautionary approach to this entire situation. He told the Associated Press, and you'll see the headline of the article from the Associated Press on your screen. He said that the claim from the Stockton mayor that the experiment proves a basic income does not negatively impact employment is overstated. He said because of the limited duration of the study, just 2 years, and he said that there were only a small number of individuals who were in the study. He said that $500 payments are finite. In other words, he says $500 doesn't go a long way. And he said that's not going to deter people from not wanting to search for a job. That was his rationale. So what's the bottom line with all this? Here's an article on your screen from the Washington Post. The city gave people $500 a month, the same city in Stockton. No strings attached to fight poverty. It paid off, according to the study. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know if you think $500 a month will make a big impact on your life. Will it bring the same element of emotional release, psychological stability? Will it allow you to find a better paying job? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new. Folks, I want to be clear. This channel, the Ignition Time channel, is a labor of love. It's intended for me to educate you about the country, the economy, and your money. If I could, I would make it rain money. Check that out. Check that out. If I could, I would make it rain money in your living room right now. Oh, wait, I just did. There's a $100 bill. It's right next to you. It kind of transcended the video and ended up in your living room. But guess what, folks? We live in the real world. So although I can do effects like these, raining money, the actual raining money is something that is in your hands, and my goal is to help you get there, because I was able to overcome the cycle of poverty that you see on your screen right now, and I have been able to achieve financial independence, and I want to help you do the same. Give me the privilege, give me the honor of doing that. Click the like button, click the subscribe button, enable notifications. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.